So 5 interesting things that I experienced while reading the Booker Shortlist this year. So first thing is all 6 books can be reread and it would be a different reading experience each time. Number 2, all of them are unbelievably well written. I found myself constantly rereading sentences and passages. Please delete that. Number 3, all have an incredible ability to use images and metaphors throughout multiple plots and subplots. Number 4, all are extremely reflective and all of them explore the self. And the 5th one is 1 out of the 6 books would make my top, I hated this book, but I finished it anyways. And 3 will probably make my top 20 of 2024. Hi, my name is Kim and welcome back to my channel. If I am new to you, I am a lover of literary fiction, especially the Booker Prize. And I also follow the International Book Prize, the Women's Prize for Fiction, and Canada Reads. But today's video is all about the Booker Shortlist. We're going to rank the shortlist, predict the winner, and then do a live reaction. Now, when the prize was first announced, the judges announced that they were looking for works of fiction that inhabit ideas by making us care deeply about people and their predicaments. And I think that all 6 of these books did that extremely well. So let's get to ranking them. And when I mean ranking them, I think that these are all extraordinary books, but I have a favorite and I have a least favorite. So in 6th place, I'm going to put Orbital by Samantha Harvey. I did really appreciate the structure. I love the fact that there were 16 orbits with 6 astronauts and they were repeating this over and over and over again, and that it was an experience that is outside of the norm. But I think in the end, the setting worked against it. I found it really too jarring and not the right atmosphere, forgive the silly space pun, for a world of self-reflection. So anytime the characters had flashbacks or they were looking down at the world and thinking about their own personal life, I found it too jarring to go back into this odd space world. And I really think that this contributed to keeping the characters at a distance from the reader, which I didn't like either. This is a very ethereal novel, both in writing as well as images and the themes that are described. It focuses on humans' fears and their dreams, and I loved how it looked at the wonder and the power of nature and Earth. I thought it was so interesting for all the astronauts to be looking down on this huge storm that's rolling in and reflecting on their time on Earth. It was spectacularly done. I would absolutely read her again. She is a beautiful writer, as all the writers are on this list. And this is a very original novel. It is astounding what she accomplishes in such a short novel. So in 5th place, I am going to name Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner. Now, I have read her before when she was, I can't remember if it's longlisted or shortlisted for the Booker a couple of years ago for the Mars Room, and I did enjoy it. Now, this is the book that would make my I hated this book so much, but I finished it list. I had such a strong reaction to this book, and I am still conflicted about it. This book does not know what it is. And it took me such a long time to read because I had such a strong response. I would read a couple of chapters and get angry about the characters and what they were doing. But then again, if I'm having such a strong reaction, it has to be pretty damn good to evoke that in me. Now, one of the things that made me angry was I really felt that it wasn't marketed properly, and the blurb on the inside sort of makes it out to be this espionage spy novel. And it is not an espionage spy novel. I don't know what it is. It's trying to do a whole bunch of different things all at the same time. But that made me so angry. I am doing my very best not to read the inside of books so that I don't have a misconstrued or somebody else's idea of what I'm going to read. Now, I really came to the turning point in this book when, and I don't think that this is a spoiler, but what made me get to the end of this book is I just treated everyone as a narcissist. As soon as I realized that everybody only believes in their own crap and their own silly idea of the world and how they're going to take all these other people along to change them, it really made me understand the characters more and appreciate their passion. But I didn't like anybody in this book, not a single character. But the fact that I hated them so much speaks to her writing, and she is an excellent writer. So that's why I'm putting Creation Lake in 5th place. So in 4th place, I'm going to put Stone Yard Devotional by Charlotte Wood. And I have to tell you that I absolutely adored the first half of this book. If you had asked me while I was reading that first half what I thought, I would have predicted this one for the winner. However, it didn't maintain that momentum. Now, it is exceptionally well written, as all these books are. There are so many themes operating in the present and the past, and it's beautifully done in terms of how intertwined all of these images and themes, and how each sentence can be interpreted in so many different levels. Now, the plot structure I think is incredible, is very, very original. A woman who doesn't believe in God, who's living not as a nun, but living with nuns and taking on all of their daily habits, including going to church several times a day. And she is someone who has abandoned her previous life. And she is reflecting back on certain instances of grief and trauma. And then a visitor or two brings her childhood into the present. And all of a sudden, she's trying to interpret all of this grief and trauma and bullying from the past with her current adult self, who she doesn't know who she is. Now, as I said before, the second half really lost me. I didn't think that there was any plot momentum. It was all self-reflection, and in the end, nothing really happened for the last half of the book, but I loved reading it. There were some really interesting themes and images. It really was an exploration of forgiveness in terms of forgiving yourself, in terms of being forgiven by others, in terms of asking for forgiveness, and do you need that validation of forgiveness? It's about processing grief, and there's a lot about motherhood in this novel, as well as trauma, and it's all about the different forms of female friendship, good and bad. So that's why I'd put it in 4th place. So just to let you know that these last 3 books, it wouldn't be upset if any of them won. But in 3rd place, I'm going to put in Held by Anne Michaels, who is a Canadian. She is a poet, more than a novelist, I would say. And I did read Fugitive Pieces, her only other novel, when it came out, and I absolutely adored it. I think I read it a couple times. Now, this book takes place over 4 generations. It moves back and forth over 100 years. It moves from 1917, during World War I, to modern day, back to the 1920s, with such ease and poignancy. Now, she is a poet, and this is a book to read as you would poetry. You have to read in between the lines and in the spaces in order to completely understand this book and really get the most from it. And a lot of readers aren't into that. I am. I love it. I don't read a lot of poetry. In fact, I don't think I've read very much since my university days. But this is supremely well written. There is a little bit of magic realism, which I tell you I'm all about. Ghosts become characters, and it's done in a very interesting way. It is short and sharp and beautifully written. It is haunting with well-established characters. Now, the only sort of little criticism I have is the Canadian cover. I didn't understand the painting by the door until a certain scene, and if you've read the book, you'll know what I mean. And that's why Held is third place. So in second place, and this is probably not going to be a favorite opinion, but I'm going to put James by Percival Everett. I really think this will be the book that wins. Um, who doesn't love this book? And for all the right reasons. I have read one other book by him, The Trees, which was shortlisted in 2022, and I loved it. He is definitely an author I'm going to try to read more of. Percival Everett really gives James the voice that was missing from the original. The twists and turns that happens in this book were so shocking to me, and they were brilliant and they were memorable. I'm not going to go on too much about this book because everybody is talking about it, everyone loves it, and for a very good reason. So that's why I'm going to put it in second place, but I will not be shocked or disappointed if it comes in first. So in first place, and my prediction for the winner is The Safekeep by Yael van der Wooden. What an amazing debut and a stunning writer, and I hope that she is sitting somewhere writing her next book. I was so invested in the characters. They were all so true to life for me. And I have never wanted a happy ending so much for a book as I have for this one. And I'm not someone for happy endings. I much prefer everyone to be blown up and tragic and miserable than for everything to be tied in a knot. But I really wanted the characters to find a place of happiness. Um, the transformation of the main character, Isabel, from beginning to end is incredibly well done. If you had told me the plot line and the transformation that this character was taking before I read the book, I would have said, no one's going to write that big of a change. It's not going to be believable, especially in such a short book. Now, this is another one of the books that's operating on so many different levels in terms of plot, subplots, and themes that are woven in. Rereading it would be a completely different experience. And I think that books that can do that are so incredibly special and rare, yet we have 6 of them from this list. It was so beautifully written, I couldn't put it down. I blew through this book and canceled things like you wouldn't believe. Now, this book really looks at the impact of the genocide of World War II and the continued tragedies and repercussions of that marginalized population, and it is so sad. It is a very tense book. The plot moves along at quite a good pace, and nothing is at its seams, and I was all there for it. So that's my predictions, and I am going to wait for the winner to be announced, and I will be with you in just a moment.
We share. I am profoundly honored to announce that the winner of the Booker Prize 2024 is Samantha Harvey for Orbital. Thank you.
Wow, I was not expecting that. Number 6 on my list. Well, congratulations to Samantha Harvey on being the winner for her book Orbital. This is a bit of a shocking year for me. Stunning, absolutely stunning year. I love the Booker. I will continue to love the Booker. It changes my reading life. It makes my reading year. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Please like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this winner. Was Orbital the one for you to win? Was it something else? What did you think of The Safekeep? So, Thanks again, and I will see you for my next video. Bye.